Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Lilies and Ravens podcast. In our previous episodes, we shared the New Olds and the librarians. In today's episode, I am excited to introduce you to the two fathers, a powerful next part of the book trilogy written by John. Enjoy listening. The Two Fathers, an allegory of the New Testament.
The Two Fathers is an allegorical adventure, recasting the timeless story of Jesus and his disciples in a contemporary setting. 8 young people, each struggling with their own self-inflicted wounds, are healed and given new purpose when they meet the teacher. They leave their pasts of failure and pain and follow him on adventures which they never felt they were worthy of, and empowered to accomplish deeds they previously would have run from in shame and fear. Prologue. He walked up the desert mountain early in the morning, occasionally stopping and looking at the valley below. The hills seemed small and far away. Wisps of smoke from the factories rose and evaporated below him. On the hard, dry, rocky path, he noticed the small flowers with their thin, sagging stems, vulnerable and alone, not in patches or among lush other foliage like in the valley below. He bent down and gently touched their petals. Hearing the birds singing, he searched the trees and sky until he located them, and then perfectly mimicked their calls. When they answered, he smiled and continued casually walking up the trail, seemingly immune to its steepness. Finally, he reached the top of the desert mountain and with arms stretched upwards toward the sky, turned around in a complete circle so he could see the entire valley one last time. He knelt and closed his eyes. Suddenly, a single bolt of lightning streaked downwards directly towards the top of the mountain where he was kneeling. A voice spoke from behind the man.
Quite an entrance, don't you think?
He'd asked. Without turning or even opening his eyes, the man responded.
It's not how you enter this world that matters, but how you leave it.
The voice replied.
Let's get to the point. These people that you care so much about are worthless. They don't even acknowledge their own creator. I have manipulated them. I have intimidated them. I have enslaved them.
There was a pause as the voice waited for a response. There was none. The voice continued.
I don't even want them anymore. They are so boring. They are an embarrassment. I will give them back to you. All I want is for him to admit that he was wrong, to give them authority over me. Look at them and look at me. They can't appear and disappear. They can't control the weather. They can't control others. They can't even control themselves. I manipulated them with cheap tricks and they just drool in amazement.
Again a pause, and again no response. The voice took on a demanding tone.
Say that you are wrong. Say that you are sorry. Then I will give them back to you.
The voice paused and, taking on a sarcastic tone, continued.
Assuming they are damaged, but you can fix them. You can do anything, remember.
The man opened his eyes but did not stand or turn around.
They are in his image. You are not, and never will be. You were created to serve them. They were not created to serve you.
The voice became louder.
They are nothing. I will never serve them. I will destroy them before I serve them.
Whispering under his breath, he adds with a hiss.
And I will destroy you.
The man said calmly.
Leave.
The lightning bolt, which had descended upon the mountain only a few moments earlier, ascended back into the sky. After about 3-4 seconds, a single peal of thunder was heard, and the lightning disintegrated as if it were a bomb exploding. The man was alone again. Excerpts. They began to murmur among themselves. Gradually their whispers grew louder and angrier. Kronos was about to put his plate on the ground and stand to protest when a loud scream was heard, and a woman came running, zigzagging towards them from the same darkness which only moments earlier had engulfed Rima. She fell at the feet of the teacher and continued screaming and cursing. Kronos tried to remove her, but she tossed him aside as if he was a small child. He stumbled backwards and fell on the sand, shocked at her strength. She stood up and stared at him with her wild eyes darting to the right and to the left, but always coming back to focus on him. She began to back away, while never taking her eyes off him. "Leave her," he said in a commanding voice. She ran away, trying to return to the darkness, but after about 15 yards she fell down motionless. The 7 ran over to check on her condition. Kronos picked up a piece of driftwood to use as a club if necessary. Normally he didn't need a weapon, but he had already felt her strength and realized this was not a normal situation, and this was certainly not a normal woman. When they arrived, several of them gasped. Snakes were coming out of her nostrils, ears, and mouth. Cronus and Ellerina wanted to crush them with their feet, but Drak yelled at them to stop. "Forget the snakes! Let them go!" The teacher has already dealt with them. They watched as the snakes slithered across the sand into the ocean.
Thank you so much for joining us today. If this is a blessing for you, I'd love for you to share with your family and friends. Lilies and Ravens is an outreach of Christian teachings, documentaries, and books. We bring to light little known but important stories and teachings. Join us in our next episode of Lilies and Ravens podcast. Thank you and God bless.